We now move to another interesting session. This is on Sripāda Srivallabha Charitamrutam, an Eastern Odyssey that leads beyond the mind. And the speaker is Daniya Latypova.
Okay.
Daniya is, a social projects manager and fundraiser. She's managing multiple projects such as rehabilitation process and search and so on, grants for writing and so on. Um, One of her responsibilities is also to find resources needed to treat children who can avoid disability in the first year of their life. And she has raised a lot of, she has done a lot of fundraising events. Uh, she's also in the sphere of her work. There was also an organization of inclusive children holidays. A lot of work in the realm of the children. Daniya over to you.
Daniya is joining us from Russia, and she's come repeatedly to India many times and traveled to the smaller towns and actually visited places where scriptures are stored, original texts are stored, and that's the background of interest and curiosity and research is coming from. So welcome, Daniya.
First of all, I want to say big thanks for Deepak Iran, who invited me for this conference, to Shivakumar and all the team who organized this event. It is really very important to share such stories nowadays. And thank you, Shivakumar, for presentation. Sripāda Srivallabha Charitamrutam, an Eastern Odyssey that leads beyond the mind. Let me read, because I have this speech written. So, from time to time, Lord Dattatreya, the cosmic principle of the teacher, incarnates in a human body to enable humans to relate on him and get uplifted. As we are in the conference of storytelling, I want to read you a little story from Sripāda Srivallabha Charitamrutam and start from it. It is called The Good Results Earned by Offering Food to Devotees of Datta. Sri Palaniswami said, this serpent was a female in a previous life. She became old. She had some sin and also some goodness. Once she offered some food to a Brahmin who was a devotee of Datta. It is the nature of Datta to be pleased easily. The lady went to Yamaloka after her death. Yamadharmaraja asked her, you have earned some sin and some merit. As you offered food to a Brahmin who was a Datta devotee, you received very great benefit. At present, Sri Dattatreya lives in the human world in the form of Sripāda Srivallabha. He ordered us to make changes in your account of your merit and sin, so that you gain great merit and take less sin. So Chitragupta, his assistant of the Lord of Death, I think many of you know this, who keeps the records of deeds. So he made changes in your account. Do you want to experience the results of sin at first or enjoy the happiness of merit? For this, she replied that she would like to undergo at first the suffering on account of the small amount of sins, and then she would enjoy the life resulting from merit later. Therefore, she took birth as a snake on this earth. As she had a mentality of harming others, she was biting all those who crossed her way. So she was accumulating more sin. My dear, there are 4 classes of snakes. The first type of snakes will not harm anyone, but simply take air as food and live like yogis. The second type of snakes will kill those whose shadow falls on them. They become angry when the shadow of anyone falls on them. The third class of serpents will try to keep away from the view of humans. They run away with fear if any person comes face to face with them. The fourth class of snakes will take a revengeful attitude against anyone and bite him even though no harm is caused to them by the person concerned. So that lady was filled with rajas. Rajaguna is the quality of overactivity. It beat Madhava, who came nearby. She had beaten him because of the merit earned in the previous birth. Madhava lost his life because of sin earned in his previous life. By the grace of Sripāda Srivallabha, that old woman was liberated from her serpent life and attained a higher world. As an embryo, the jiva lies in the form of a serpent in the fetus stage. Fetus stage. Fetus is the synonym of embryo. On account of Nagadosha, mortality of children takes place. There is also an editor's note, but this is the story. So let me tell you a little about the book and make a little introduction. I will not speak a lot, so because I think it's the end of the day in India. So Lord Dattatreya's incarnation, the first full incarnation as a human, as Sripāda Srivallabha, was very necessary for those whose hearts were polluted by the dark age of Kali. For those whose actions were conditioned by destiny, for those who lived by sinful money, and for all the human beings in the Kali Yuga. He is a great treasure of compassion, a personification of punya, good deeds. It is said that no one is equal to Sripāda Srivallabha in removing all kinds of devotees' impurities and spreading them peace when they visit, remember, worship, or meditate upon him. Why he was given the name Sripāda? Normally, when a child is born, the knowers see the form and also look under the feet for any symbols. In the case of this child, it was observed by his grandfather, who was also a Siddha, that in the lines under the right foot, there was the symbol of the wheel, and on the left foot, the symbol of the shank. These are symbols of the divine presence in that form. They are not found except in the case of most high beings. Because of these symbols, these feet were considered very sacred. Therefore, he is called Sripāda, the most auspicious feet. And Srivallabha is a name that was given later. He was born in a Brahmin family. When he was of 16 years, his parents asked him to get married. He then said, "I'm already the man to Lady Shri." That is why he is called Srivallabha, meaning the husband of Shri, the male dimension of Shri. Still here. The Sripāda Srivallabha is an extraordinary book about the first incarnation in this age, in the present age, and in an exciting and entertaining way, it gives an insight into the fascinating biography of Sripāda, his sportive plays, teachings, prophecies, and miracles. It provides a feeling of being in his presence and participating in the events. It was written in Sanskrit by Shankar Bhatt, the writer who was a first-hand witness of Sripāda and his Leelas. After finishing the Charitamrutam, he reads it with 5 persons. He knows from Sripāda that it won't be published immediately after a Telugu version is created. His Sanskrit version will vanish by immersing into River Krishna, which is near the birthplace of Sripāda. So Sripāda's name will start spreading all over the world, and millions of people will be attracted to his samsthan, the temple at the birthplace of Sripāda. As decreed by him, the work was kept secret. For nearly 7 centuries, nothing was known about the existence of his biography. So the appearance of the book was a mystic process. So as Sripāda said in the book, it will be translated into many languages. The divine experiences and the protection will be the same in whatever language it is read. Am I not speaking fast?
It's fine, Daniya.
Okay. In 2001, one man came to Mahasamsthan and brought a Telugu version of Sripāda Srivallabha Charitamrutam. He declared that his name is Srimalaji Govinda Dikshitulu, and he is from the family line of Sripāda's maternal grandfather. An old copy of the book was preserved in their family for 32 generations, and in the book it was stated that it will come to light in the 33rd generation. And it was not explained when and how. but certain signs were described which happened to this man in 1991, just 2 years ago, before he came to the temple. He realized that the time has arrived to reveal the book to the world. As foretold in the book, he copied the old book, the old and brittle book, then went to Krishna River, which we can see in the picture, and in Vijayawada, and immersed the old copy. Afterwards, he went to Sripāda Srivallabha Mahasamsthan, performed the Parayana, dedicated reading for 7 days, and handed over the book to the temple. So then it was published in Telugu and other languages, Indian languages, and in 2007 in English. It has been prophesied that Charitamrutam will also be published in German. Inside the book, there was a devotee whose name was John, and he came. So he came from Germany in that year. It was 1320th year, as I remember. So Sripāda just only lived 30 years on Earth, and it was really so hard to come to this place, but that man managed, and it was really a miracle. And Sripāda blessed him that he will just because of his presence, the book will be published in German, first European language that was translated, in which it was translated. And also Spanish and French translations on the way. Don't think that Sri Charitamrutam book is a mere book. It is a live stream of a glorious consciousness. When you make a devoted reading, the strength of those letters flow into my mental consciousness. As you have a connection with me, without being aware of it, all your rightful desires will be fulfilled by my mercy. Even when this great book is preserved in your room of worship, it causes auspicious vibrations. Forces of misfortune and spirits of darkness are driven away. Shankar Bhatt, write about all the sportive plays taking place today in this Panchadeva Pahad. Write about them faithfully in Charitamrutam, exactly as they are and exactly as you see them. It will be a source of inspiration for future generations. It will wipe out many serious doubts. It imparts new strength, devotion, and enthusiasm for the believers of God. Little about the author. Shankar Bhatt calls himself an ignorant and illiterate person, and humbly submits the entire work as an expression of Sripāda's divine will and blessing. Throughout the book, he keeps the position of a reporter who tries to objectively describe what he witnesses and hears. And he's not writing from the perspective of an involved observer, but rather allows us to participate in his inner processes, his questions and doubts, his crises and sorrows, his thrill and wonder. He's traveling by foot without luggage and money, not knowing how to reach the goal, and sleeping in the places he comes along, experiencing hunger and life-threatening situations. He's walking alone or with co-travelers, meet saints, robbers, farmers and merchants, kings, housewives and prostitutes. He faces orthodox arrogance, sectarianism, lies, disputes, and even conspiracies against Sripāda, which in the end dissolve in surprising ways. And the most important, and one of the most important things that we can witness here, that he himself was a Brahmin, but his experiences teach him to overcome the barriers of caste and doctrine and to feel the unity of all who are striving towards the divine. So his prejudice was dissolved also. There are many hints for future events, some of which already belong to the past. So I just only want to, I wanted to tell about the dedicated reading. Yeah. So the book is partly not easy to read, especially for a Westerner. You'll encounter numerous names of persons and deities, unfamiliar concepts and expressions. To help the reader, the edition has even the English edition after the German edition enriched the book with many explanations and comments. However, the book is not appealing to the mind, but to the consciousness of the reader. Its purpose is to awaken the consciousness and the intuition. It is very nourishing, charming, and joyful, and it causes an unfoldment. It is best to read the book with an open mind and heart, not trying to understand everything. So I wish that this little introduction to this holy book maybe will maybe will interest someone to read it and to enjoy the great leaders of Sripāda of that way, of that time. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. Thank you so much, Daniya ji. Audiences, any engagement, discussions?
Is it the questions for me? I wanted to know what, from Richa Badola. The difference.
No, I'm just opening it to the audiences to ask any question.
Uh-huh. I wanted to know what is the difference between Jataka and Panchatantra tales. It's not about me. I think so.
Okay. Thank you so much, Danyaji. I think it was very good. I think the Bhakti tradition and the Charitamruta as a form of, a storytelling form that itself is very interesting. It's also one thing that has, gotten transformed into Parayana tradition. When you have Charitamritas, they're read at home, they're narrated at home. So a different kind of telling, and different kind of sacred telling has evolved in that. This is something that people do at home.
Yes, true.
So I myself, my mother used to narrate stories from Bhakta Vijaya, a very a great book which has come from Hindi to Marathi to Kannada and various other languages, where the stories are read. They are not merely told. The written form itself is in a certain form where the bhakti rasa flows. I was reminded of that while you were narrating this. Thank you so much.